My name is Freddie, and welcome back to, I don't know what I'm going to call this yet, but I'll figure it out. The community-based show where you send in your situation and we work through it together. If you want to talk further about the topics mentioned in today's video, feel free to join the Discord and share any opinions or feedback you might have. Today's message comes from Gay Deaf Guy. My ex broke up with me and I'm still struggling to cope without him. He's with someone else now and we don't speak as much anymore. He was my first boyfriend, so I don't know how to process my feelings. We are still friends and keep in touch every now and then. It hurts every time we talk, but I don't want to lose him. Breakups are complicated and very, very circumstantial. In your case, I think it's a key point to mention that this is your first ever relationship. You're still completely new to dating, and it's very, very rare that we get things right on our first try. Liking someone but them not reciprocating the same feelings is a universal experience. It's happened to you, it's happened to me, and it will most likely happen again. But I think I have a theory on why you feel such a strong sense to stay in connection with this person. You know when a small child is being annoying and then proceeds to run into oncoming traffic, and instead of trying to save them, you just shrug your shoulders and go, oh well, that's natural selection for you. Yeah, I mean, well, it turns out that natural selection isn't just a saying. It's an instinct we have going back hundreds of millions, quite a long time ago. And I believe the reason you feel so obligated to stay in connection with this person, despite feeling hurt, and even worse when talking to them, is because of the fear of loneliness. Loneliness is a bodily function. It's like hunger or pissing. Hunger makes you pay attention to your physical needs. Loneliness makes you aware of your social needs. And pissing, well, I just think it's funny. You ever seen legendary pisses on TikTok? It is a must-watch. It is a life-changing experience. Your body cares about your social needs because millions of years ago, it was a great indicator of how likely it would be for you to survive. We were originally born into groups of 50 to about 150 people, which we would usually stay with for the rest of our life. And this was known as our tribe. My tribe is on Discord and goes by the name When You Jump on Her and Scream Chicken Jockey. But the two are somehow an equivalent. A group of people that you feel safe with. Your tribe were the people who gathered enough calories to survive, made sure you stayed nice and warm, took care of offspring, and all of that was somewhat impossible alone. Being together meant survival, and being alone means you end up like that annoying baby I didn't stop from walking into oncoming traffic. So it was basically crucial you got along with others. Otherwise, the alternative was being eaten by a lion or walk into oncoming traffic. So as soon as this breakup occurred, your brain might be thinking, oh well, maybe it's for the best. I should find someone who loves me for who I am. But your biological instincts are going, we've just been separated from a key point of our social group. And that can only mean one thing. We're gonna be eaten by a snake, being eaten by a lion, being eaten by a saber-toothed tiger that's being hit at 200 miles per hour on the M1 by a 12-wheeler while an asteroid destroys the whole of humanity. Basically, you're associating a lack of connection with a threat to your life. But that connection will hurt to maintain because you've had those experiences with that said person, aka your ex, aka the huz, aka was Pookie. Which brings me on to my next question, which I guess is, can you still be friends after a breakup? I think there's a few key things that need to happen first before you even consider trying to rekindle a friendship. A platonic one, that is. No feelings, because until that happens, it's going to be pretty tricky for you to be a good friend to that person, if, like, at all. What I'm about to say might come from a bliss sense of ignorance. But if I'm calling it out, is it really ignorance? Yeah, it is. I have been alone all my life. Is a term I don't really like very much because it's often referring to someone who's never had a relationship. And as someone who's never had a relationship before, that's right, no bitches, no maidens, couldn't even pull a door, I don't feel alone. And I think that's down to, one, having an incredible friend group, and two, enjoying my own company. I can have zero human interaction for a week and enjoy it, just like I can have a week full of seeing friends and enjoy it just the same. And I think it's because I was alone for a long time before finding friends. And so I kind of learned to enjoy my own company. Either that was by taking myself for a walk while listening to a podcast, going out for food while listening to a podcast, indulging in a hobby like editing or art or cooking, or listen to a podcast. Just find like a podcast you like. It's the best life advice I can give you. I would recommend Happy Hour, Shut Up I'm Talking, or The Yard, but those are all very niche. But it's true that if you can't enjoy your own company, finding a partner won't be the thing that makes you happy. And I think it's a bad stereotype that keeps being pushed onto us by social media and advertisers, because as well as sex does sell, OnlyFans down below, constantly showing this stereotype perfect connection that isn't even real, is rather unhelpful. Nobody is perfectly happy. And so it can feel quite isolating being on the other end of this false stereotype. So let's find some answers to the question at hand here. You say you're struggling to cope without him and to know how to process your feelings. And look, processing feelings suck. I'm gonna be so for real. It's a terrible experience. In the same way that skydiving is a terrible experience, because it's also one of the most liberating things you can do. And here's how. The best way to process feelings is to say them out loud or write them down. This is why therapy works, and this is why you feel better after chatting shit to your friends for 5 hours about that one guy who, let's be real, probably isn't even that bad. Unless he is, then fuck that guy. Can we get a fuck that guy in the comments with his full name and home address? I'm kidding, don't do that. Because when you speak about your thoughts and feelings out loud, your brain processes them in a completely different way that not only helps put things into perspective, it helps you make sense of the situation you're in. This is the same reason why when proofreading, you quite often don't notice mistakes until reading it back to yourself out loud. Although that might just be me, I don't know. Breakups are one of the most difficult things you can go through, and a lot of people don't survive them. Over 1 in 5 acts of suicide are because of relationships, so the fact that you're still living your life and still trying your best is absolutely incredible, and I applaud you for that. I would encourage you to focus more on finding yourself and building a strong and healthy social circle. Hopefully giving yourself time to heal. It's not selfish to put your own mental and physical health first, and I think a lot of people forget that. I would also recommend trying out new skills because they could quite possibly be a newfound passion that not only distracts you, but brings out a part of you that you didn't know you had, and could quite possibly give you a purpose to keep going. I find a good way to discover new skills is to look at who you admire and what you admire about them. It could be that they make their own cute little stickers and you want to give that a go. You are an incredible person and should be proud for making it through this period of your life. Relationships could be really hard. At least I'd imagine. I've never had to deal with one. Relationships can be really tricky, but we take our experiences and we grow as people, and that's kind of the beauty in it. If we were always right first try, there'd be no value in the good bits. And if none of this works for you, that's fine. Just start drinking and gambling, mate. It worked for the rest of us.